If you have ever been to Japan during the spring, you would know that absolutely everyone is obsessed with the Sakura, cherry blossoms. I mean, have you seen Starbucks? From Sakura-themed drinks like the blooming Sakura milk tea, Sakura strawberry frappuccino, to the Sakura donuts and Sakura cakes and even Sakura mints, Starbucks is really taking this Sakura thing in its stride. Okay, Starbucks might be a bit of an extreme, but the cherry blossom front making the national news every day, the reporting of the Sakura blooming in Kyoto for over 1200 years, and rivers lined with picnickers, all vying for a good spot under the Sakura. It's all a bit too much, don't you think? Said no one ever. In Japan, everyone flocks to the parks in spring, and why wouldn't you? Sitting beneath an endless blanket of pink and white, snow-capped mountain under a deep blue sky, sipping on the aforementioned Starbucks blooming Sakura milk tea, with perhaps a touch of your favorite sake, as the delicate petals slowly flutter in the breeze. It doesn't get any more quintessentially spring than that. But have you ever stopped to wonder, why Sakura? Why not daisies or daffodils, poppies or petunias? Why not, kami forbid, the true national flower of Japan, the one that appears on the Japanese passport and the 50-yen coin, the symbol of the Japanese imperial family? What about the chrysanthemum? It's not called the Sakura throne after all. It might as well be though, right? So, how did Sakura come to be the center of attention? Has it always been Sakura? And what is the deep meaning placed on Sakura that makes it a motif in everything from haiku poetry to fine Japanese art? The answer may surprise you. The word Sakura gives us hints into its underlying meaning. Sakura is said to come from saku, meaning to bloom or to burst, and ra, denoting plurality. However, this came after kanji characters were introduced into Japan. There is another, much deeper and much more ancient meaning of Sakura that might provide a little bit more context. Meshikutta ga ippeke? Have you eaten yet? As they say here in the local Shonai dialect. As the staple of the Japanese diet, rice is obviously an extremely important part of Japanese cuisine and by extension, culture. The word for rice in Japan, gohan or meshi, is synonymous with the word for a meal. The rice harvest is also the object of many matsuri festivals in Japan. It's why so many festivals revolve around the harvest in autumn. So what does this have to do with Sakura? From the trees to the rocks, to the rivers, to the mountains, to the waterfalls, to the flowers. I'm sure you've all heard of Shinto kami, the deities believed to inhabit absolutely everything in nature. Well, the word Sakura is said to come from Yamato Japan, a Japan very much ruled by kami. Sakura is a Yamato word made up of sa and kura. Sa refers to the kami of the rice plant, the kami of the rice field, and the kami of crops. In short, sa refers to the source of life, food. The kura part comes from Iwakura, the dwelling place of the kami, where the kami are welcomed. In other words, Sakura are where the kami of the rice plant dwell. They are the trees the kami of the rice fields possess, and when the Sakura bloom, the kami of the rice fields are saying, Konnichiwa. Once they bloom, it's time to get ready to plant the rice. The condition of the Sakura was also used to predict that year's harvest. So what would you do if you knew you were in the presence of the kami? Eat, drink, and be merry, of course. By entertaining the kami, people prayed for a good harvest and enjoyed the company of the kami with food and sake, and dedicated performances to them under the Sakura trees. This is hanami, the original flower viewing. This is the original reason why the Japanese love Sakura so much, not some recent offering from Starbucks. But has it always been this way? And when exactly did this start? I mentioned it earlier, but in Kyoto, they have been recording the blossoming of the Yamazakura variety of cherry blossoms for over 1200 years. But if you refer to the Nihon Shoki, an 8th century chronicle of Japan, there are accounts of hanami festivals dating back to the 3rd century AD. However, it wasn't always Sakura that was the center of attention. Back in the Nara period, the custom of enjoying sake and the presence of the kami began a few weeks earlier than now, with the blooming of ume, plum blossoms, instead. Sakura bloom when the temperature outside is just warm enough. In the Heian period, Emperor Saga wised up to the fact that when the ume plum blossoms are in full bloom, the wind chill factor meant that it was still better to be inside. By the time Emperor Saga had gotten around to it, Sakura had become the center of attention. Emperor Saga held flower viewing parties in the imperial court in Kyoto with sake and a huge feast to welcome in the kami. Before long, the word hanami, literally flower viewing, came to mean viewing the sakura. Hanami was first recorded as a term synonymous with sakura viewing in the Heian era novel The Tale of Genji, and a tradition was set in stone. For the noble class, that is. It took a while until the hanami custom slowly made its way to the samurai class, but by the 18th century, flower viewing was a well-established spring custom for the common classes as well. In fact, feudal lord Tokugawa Yoshimune encouraged its proliferation by planting extensive areas of sakura and establishing Edo's first Starbucks at the Shibuya crossing. Interestingly, the majority of sakura you see around the world are not from wild species of cherry tree. Rather, they are clones. Many of the sakura species have been cultivated since the Heian period, using techniques such as grafting and cutting. Endemic to Japan, the Oshima species has produced many cultivars thanks to selective breeding, such as the Yoshino cherry. Wild cherry trees bloom at different times, even if they are in the same climate. But since the Oshima species are clones, when they are in the same climate, they bloom at the same time. This is why, when you visit parks throughout Japan with sakura, you can bask under the glory of not just one, but all of the sakura trees. Sakura flowers blossom beautifully for a week or so, and then scatter down in a brilliant display from a slight breeze. The short yet dazzling life of sakura is said to be representative of life itself, and reminds us of the concept of mono no aware, the awareness of impermanence, or the fleeting nature of life. Sakura flowers aren't seen to be prettier than other flowers such as daisies or daffodils, poppies or petunias. This mono no aware gives sakura its special appeal, and is why sakura is a common motif in haiku and other Japanese art. Sakura are a reminder that the kami have come to bless us with food, the gift of life. They are a reminder that we should be thankful to the kami, but at the same time, they are a reminder that our lives are limited and should be enjoyed whenever we get the chance. Which for me is as good an excuse as any to have a Starbucks strawberry frappuccino under the pink and white flowers. Kia ora koutou, Tim Bunting, the Kiwi Yamabushi here, and today I have asked a special guest to come because I want to ask him what Japanese people think, why Japanese people like Sakura so much. And this is my favorite Japanese friend, so would everyone please welcome Mr. Natsuki Aso. Natsuki, are you there?
Okay. Oh.
Hey!
Yay!
Welcome.
Good to see you! Hello! Kiwi Yamabushi Japan!
I don't know, maybe.
Hey! It's Natsuki! Good.
Good.
Good to see you! Yeah!
So, Natsuki, you are my Japanese friend.
Hey?
So why do Japanese people love Sakura?
Oh. Well, many Japanese people like Sakura. But why? Reason? I don't know.
日本語でも大丈夫？
いいの？
日本語でも OK。
OK？多分景色にマッチングしてんだと思うんだよね。絵になる桜はこうボリューミーだし、でもその前はほら梅だったんだよ。梅 プラム
いえ、
プラムという。
プラムプラムブロッサム。
うん。プラムブロッサム。
うん。
だけど最近はチェリーブロッサムになった。
最近？
ここ2、300年。
あ、そうもっと前だよ。
あ、そう、もっと前。Long time ago! うん。で、今は、桜は結構見やすいじゃん。
うん。
植えやすいっていうの。ここに置こうとかできるけど、梅は難しいんだよね。プラムは。で、プラムは山にしかなかったから昔、人が山に行って見てたんだよ。わざわざ。
なるほど。
でも行きたくないから
こっちに
もう持ってきたのが桜だった。
なるほど。
それでチェンジしたんだよね。プラム Goddamn プラムね、もうファイティングだからプラム vs チェリー
ファイト。
そう、はい、ファイト今こ
う桜
チェリー、
いや
もっとプラム何か必要なんだよ、プラムに。
いや
で、プラムは結構梅酒とかさ、リキュールとか、あとなんだろう、結構食べるじゃん。
梅
はね、梅干しとかね。でもチェリーは食べれないんだよね。
まあ
あまり
ね。
けど無理くり食べるようになってきた。
チェリー
チェリー
チェリーって言うとでも桜のことね。桜もまた別でしょ。
違うそうあれは違うもんね。違うチェリー
違う
そうだからなぜ日本人が桜を好きなのか、僕はおそらくタイミングだと思います。
タイミング
ウィンタースプリングのちょうどいいの、just ふわってくるで maybe one week で lost、そのロストが短いから、桜ってなんだよ、気分して、ね、それくそー梅プラム頑張れチェリーボンって知ってる？
チェリーボンは知らない。
知らない？そういうランナーウェイズっていうジョン・ジェットのバンドがあったんだけど、もっとプラムソングをもっといっぱい作るね。プラム
今、changes だろうかと思った。
チェンジスでも、チェンジスだよね。
もう前、プラムだったのが。
そう。じゃあ、ティム、プラムの応援をして。
OK。
もうプラム
これは桜の。
桜のそうか。でも、桜もいいよね。なんか、こう。ファニーな感じ、色合いがさ、ペールなトーン、ペールトーン。梅はちょっとストロングじゃん。バッ
梅。
ちょっと男性っぽい。
そう思う。そうかも。
木がさ、こう黒くてこういう感じ。でも桜はペーンつるっとしてる。つる。
なるほど。
次。そう。でもね、虫がいっぱい来んだよ。ビースト、桜。いっぱい。
バグス。
そう。
桜ね。
桜に。
だから危ない。
だから庭に桜がある家はよく虫が多い。
そうなんだ。
ビー、ハニービーとか。だからデンジャラス。あと
俺の前ニュージーランドに住んでた時の家、桜の木あった。
やばいでしょ？
もうそれ意識してない。
シロアリいるよ絶対。ホワイトアント、家食うやつ。
ニュージーランドあんまり聞いたことないんだよね。
いないの？
いるんじゃないかな。わかんない。シロアリの話すると思わなかった。
そう、日本は結構シロアリが多かった。もう気をつけないといけないよ。バスターズ。
ゴースバスターズ。アントバスターズ。
アントバスターズ。どこまでこの話がずれちゃったんだ。桜に
まあ一応答えになってるから。
なってるなってるね。多分 just point season good 桜。 かな、
うん
俺が思うのは。
はい。
うん
ありがとうございます。
みんなは桜好きかい？
Oh, really?
really?
Oh.
モアフラン。頑張れ。
はい。じゃあ、
Finish?
yeah.
Oh God! See you next time again!
Yeah, see you next time.
Good luck!
Thank you.
うん。
Kagitiano.
Next time.
Check out this video to see why Japanese people can be Shinto and Buddhist at the same time. Or come with me as I explore Mount Arakura, the mountain of Sakura on the Shonai coast. I'm Tim Bunting, the Kiwi Yamabushi. Ka kite ano, and I'll see you next time.